Hello, welcome. It is good to be here, but I am absolutely right. You are going to watch me struggle for quite a lot of time. So I hope that's acceptable to you. Um, why is this slow? Closing all the VS codes. Okay. You are very kind, but this is going to probably be quite tough. So basically what we have is, and hello, hi, Full Stack Jack. Nice to see you. And Ben, tuning in from close by. Okay, so let's see. Right, installed dependency. So basically what we have now in H3 is the possibility to have typed, where is it? So many changes have been happening recently. We have the possibility on the second page here, but only a couple of days ago, I feel, to have event handler generics with typed body and query, which is great. But at the moment, it only works down. I need to make it work up. So I'll just fire up Nitro, the source directory, that is. So in Nitro, we have, let's see, a test fixture that maybe I can use as, or a playground that I can use as an example. Okay, so I'm going to create a root, and we're just going to call this typed root, and it is going to have, it's going to return, some normal JSON. But the key thing here, the key thing is that we can now type, and this means it's possible to get inferred type. So here we could get that what is it, typed root, and we can have an inferred. We can't. Why? Let me just check. It might be because I'm operating in the Nitro playground here. It's possible I need some other configuration to make that work. Why is that not working? Should be fine. Maybe I need to tell it to write something like this. Strict, maybe? Maybe it's not strict for some reason. But basically, we have type safety there. Yeah, there we go. We have type safety there. But what I want is to be, and we now have type safety or we have type hinting, in that I can basically say the body has to have an ID which has a string. And if I do that, I get type safety here. Actually, not safety. It's important to say. We need to, we have the capacity to validate. But at the moment, I'm not looking at the validation. I'm just looking at the way the types flow up and down. And so here we have the capacity to get a typed body. So actually, at this point, we know that the body has ID string. So far, so good. But what we want to do is make sure that when we hit typed root here, it has some kind of type safety. So I want basically to be able to, when I'm filling out body, for it to autocomplete that it needs an ID. And if I don't have an ID, there is an error. So basically this should be an error requires ID. That is a helpful way to basically just say that is the behavior I want to have. And it also has to have, in this case, a post method. Otherwise, there is no body. So I need to write the types today that make this possible. And this is not a straightforward thing. And hi, need more wood. So that is the challenge. And at the moment, this is what we do. We generate these Nitro roots, and each root has a string, and then it has a method, and then it has a return type. And so this is the format of a root. It is basically like this. And I think we're going to need to completely rework this and do something which is more performant from a type point of view. So I would love, yes, I am having a lot of fun, Tom, but I have a message for you. And my message is edge. That's my message. I'm having fun. on the edge. I'm on the bleeding edge. I'm doing edgy things and making edgy comments, and otherwise just in general living life on the edge. Okay, so basically I think we're going to need to rework this, and yes, I should use a different web browser, shouldn't I? I should use Edge perhaps, and I think that would be quite a useful thing to do. Edge, Tom. Okay, really? Anyway, it is weird time. Although it's hard to imagine Vercel team being stumped, Netlify team being stumped about anything. But so right, okay. So this is our code. This is what does it. We have our build, like we iterate through and we produce this, and we have this internal API that we generate. I think it is whatever you want it to be. It's a state of mind. It's not an actual location. It's a state of mind. Yeah, that would be good. $edge. Okay, so yeah. Okay, so this is it, this roots thing here. And we iterate over the root types that we generate up here. Now, the problem with this, or rather, it's not a problem as such, but there are a couple of things that we do that I think are potentially, I think could be better, basically. Okay. Oh dear, my mouse is actually losing power. It's losing signal. This is ideally not good. Probably I am still going to have to charge it. Don't go anywhere. Because I'm going to need all the moral support I can get for this particular task. Swapping mouse. Right. Hey Todd, nice to see you. Okay, I'm going to do this in my left hand. That feels very, very wrong. But basically, it feels very strange. I'll do it with my right hand on the left. So basically, I think we can make this better. Like one, I don't think we can get rid of this in a minor because even though it's internal, I think other people might be relying on it. So I think what we need to do is write an additional set of types. And I think what we need to do basically is come up with something like this. So I'm going to manually write the types and see if I can make it work, and then I can generate them. Okay, so if we had a type like this, I'm going to do it directly in here. Okay, so if we had a type like this, interface internal request, and it's going to have I think it's going to be a function signature. Is that right? Can I just fully type fetch? Because basically I think we can get rid of a lot of the inference. Okay, so here's what I'm going to try. So URL is going to be like that. And this whole thing is going to come back with this. Okay, so it will come back with that. And it doesn't have to be, that's fine, I guess. So we'll use simplify and serialize just to keep the implementation similar. And this will need to be that. Okay. So if this is my internal request and I have a function, say, we're going to call it fetch, and it's going to be typed as internal request. And basically, I should be able to call fetch that, and I should be able to get back something that's typed. But it doesn't look like it's doing it. Okay, so what's the matter here? Okay, that's the request. What's that typed as? Oh. Is it any of these? Let's drop them out. Whoa, what's going on? We do live on our own bubble, that is true. Michael, hello. Managed Kubernetes. Yay. Okay. Okay, I think this isn't an issue. I think I'm just going to manually specify it here. It's going to be a promise of foobar. I think this is just possibly that we're not in the right Yeah, that's fine. Okay. So this is okay. What are you doing? Okay, so this is typed, I think. And what I can do, I think, is actually specify this a little bit more fully. So I could say options would be fetch options, or nitro fetch options maybe. Okay. And why is this giving me, oh, it has a, but I think I can just directly say fetch options. Hey, Fabian, thank you. And method is post. So I'm actually going to specifically require that, or post. Now, that's not actually working because it's let's try this. But it has to be, it's actually required in this case. Okay, I can just, let's try that again, fetch options. Okay, good. And in this case, I can also specify body must be ID string, okay? And so that is actually going to be typed, and what I have to do here is I have to provide a body and a method, and the body and method are both typed. Okay, that feels good, right? So I'm basically interested. Yeah, it is a expect error type thing. And this is, I'm getting autocomplete for it. Okay, this is all very good. Reaper, and need more wood, thank you. That's very kind. Okay, so I think this is slightly more ergonomic. I think we're just directly typing this. Now, let's see if I can do this. Is this going to work? Come on. Oh, sorry, I want to type the entire function as this. Okay, so what is going to happen here? Okay, it's combined. So I think what I need to do is I want to redefine this global fetch here. I hate what Prettier does to types, by the way. This is not easy to read. Like, this is a single function signature. To be fair, well, a single function and two properties, but it just spreads it out like vertically. It doesn't. I don't think this feels good. But basically, what's going on is we have a request, which should be, and we have a response, and we have options, and that it's literally that. And so I think we can specify the request and the options and the response in line. So I'm going to try this. So I think basically what we want to do is we're going to say promise. We'll do simplify serialize as well. Beautiful. Which would just mean that if we were returning something like a date or something like that. So if I said foo is date, then in this case, foo is actually going to end up as a string because that's how it serializes. Okay, and I think, just to say, I think there are 2 bits here that have to be inferred. And I'm just going to see if I can put them back in that nitro roots file. I'm going to say declare interface internal request. And let's just see if that's still working. Let's split my screen. I'm sorry, this is going to be rough today. Okay. So, well, I'll use it I'll just call it internal fetch, and we'll import it from NitroPack. And we will declare it like this. Okay, perfect, it's working. So now what I want to do is actually get this back again and pull out our typed root response. And is it not, it's not typed. What have I done? Have I specifically done something weird here? What is the return of that? It's foo. Oh, it's the body that's messing it up, I think. No? Hey, Solomon. What I really want to do, and I might as well start doing it here, is basically I can say let's try this. So well, I think I can do it in line like this, but I think it would be better if I basically say type root1 is this, and basically I can then reference it more than once. And I think TypeScript is going to give me a slight performance boost for doing that, but I need to check. Okay, so root1 extends event handler, infer input, infer output. Oh, I could say request and response. But input and output might be slightly less confusing because these are not pure native. So if we have an event handler extending we don't care about that, just the output, then this will be a promise output. And that is, for some reason, still expecting a little bit. Oh, if it's not, then it will be just unknown. And so what's my response now? Still any. That feels really strange. Why is this any? Oh, I wonder if it's because of the generic? It is somehow typed as any. Okay, now it's inferred. Okay, that's very weird. Okay, but it's not an issue with these types. It is something we'll have to sort out. Joaquin, hello. My face is hiding code. That's sort of a terrible, terrible thing to be in. No, this is ignored basically. It's just typed as the internal fetch, I think. The issue is, well, I'm assuming that. Okay, I think this is right. So this is the output, and I think we can do the input. You're telling me things. I'm not convinced they're the case. I think the problem is, so that the root that we're talking about is here. And at the moment, it's an event handler with the return type inferred. But if I pass the generic of the input, so if I say, query is ID string, then it is, at this point, the second generic is not inferred properly anymore. It's typed as any. That is the reason why my inference is breaking down. And I need to sort that out for sure. But right now I'm just going to hard code it. And so that we can actually get the inference working in the Nitro generated types. And then I'll have to go back to H3 and figure out why this isn't working. But so now it has the generics properly generated and matching up with this. And then here where we're using it, we now should have foobar coming through. And now we're going to do the same with the input. So instead we have our method, we have our body. And so we're going to basically say root1 extends event handler input, infer input. Then it's going to be input body. And query is or body init. And query is the same, except we're going to say either query or, I think, what is it? Record string? No. Is it query object? No. What is it? By default, it is query object. Okay. Right. Okay, so basically, I think, and I'll split this out so you get a little bit clearer. Beautiful. Okay, so now what we should have, oh, and these are optional. Oh, or are they? We need to sort that one out too. So at this point we have fetch, and it's typed as body unknown, but query has to have an ID. So I'll just put query in there, right? So that's correctly inferring the types from the actual source file. Except I have not, I'm sorry, I'm bumping my, except that I have not forgotten that we do need to actually resolve the issue where we infer the return type, even if we pass an explicit input. But we could generate something like this, and it will work, right? This will be. I could do this. This will explicitly, except I think we don't want to do it on the declared Nitro pack. So I think that should be fine. Okay. Cool. I think we would say promise unknown, and we would also add back in our simplify, serialize, awaited, output. Okay, I think that's it, and I think that's going to be right. Beautiful. And body, it says, is body init. Excellent. Good. Okay, so my types are flowing through correctly. So I think what I now need to do is basically generate something of this format, which is, the benefit of it is that there's no extra inference going on here. So what I also want to be able to do is generate this for params. Let's see if I can do this. So if I can do one now, which is get or undefined. So basically, like this. And so if I have a get request, then I should be able to differentiate that from, and in order to differentiate it, I will specifically just hard code that the query is just going to be a normal query object, and the return type is going to be promise of get, just a string. At the moment, it seems like it could be either. So that's a problem with my implementation here. RTK query. This is very different. So we already have quite an advanced sort of data fetching story going on in Nitro. I'm just working on the types for inputs. Hey, hello. It was so nice streaming with you the other day. So the problem is, that my types are being merged. The other thing is RTK query looks like it's built on top of Redux, and this has no front end dependencies. The next release of Nuxt, we pushed it back. I'm sorry about that. We pushed it back to Monday to allow, again, it's all, we want to land some nice features in Nitro and H3, and we want to do it without breaking anybody. So we're just taking some more time to test. Nuxt itself, okay, I'm just going to keep this between us, but I'm pretty sure we might have PNPM support without shamefully hoist by 3.7. So that's what I'm just saying. There are two PRs that you can check out if you want to see. They are this one and this one, these two. Those two, when merged, they don't work in the monorepo yet. So there's a problem in the monorepo, the Nuxt one, but they do work in, like when I build it and try it in a third-party project, it works. So there's a little bit more work to be done, but I am very optimistic, particularly if I've got a little bit of time over the weekend. Okay, so here I need to be able to have differentiated, like to differentiate based on method. So if I don't have a method, then it needs to not have an error. But if I do have a method, it needs to, I think basically I need to omit basic fetch options to avoid the things being merged. So because I want to overwrite these. Hey, Dr. Jim, thank you. Is it true that TRPC is coming with Nuxt? Well, you can use TRPC with Nuxt, but do you mean, if you mean like type safe end to end, Nuxt has had that in terms of responses, but it hasn't had that in terms of input. And yes, this is all about providing that in terms of input types for body and query. Okay, so this is, oh yeah. So that's fine. That's correctly coming back with get. And it should do the same if I have, if I do post, then it should not come back with get. It's, yeah. But if I do get, it should come back with get. Okay, so we are somewhat typed. If I omit anything, then it should come back with get as well. Okay, so that's all good. I could just quickly write some assertions here. So this should satisfy promise of get. Maybe I have to wrap it. Oh, it's the await that's the issue. Satisfies get. Okay, so I can actually just directly make some type assertions here. And I should also have method get, and I should also have, say, an option, like an options object with nothing. And so those are all correctly coming back with just get. Then I think it depends on what your content is. So paragraphs can't have another paragraph inside them, and I would guess that's what it is. Or, oh, thank you, Vivian. Or they can't have block content, basically. I think that's why. And the reason is that when the browser encounters block content inside a paragraph, it will end the paragraph and start the block content. That's what happens. Let me, do you mind if let's see. I think I hear my son at the door. If he can come in. Daddy! I'm pretty sure it's block content, because I don't think there's any issue with paragraphs at its own, but I think, because a lot of things are block content and weirdly don't work. Hello?
The other piece is lost. It's lost.
Is it lost?
Can you find it?
No, I will look later. I can't look right now.
Can you borrow the towel that is left of it that you borrowed? I had a good time in pizza.
Oh, did you?
Why is it Amber time?
I will come and we will build that tower, okay, Neddy?
What is it, Mom?
But I will just finish what I'm doing now and then I'll come help build the tower. Does that sound like a good idea?
And have a bit of your soup.
My soup? There's nothing left in the soup. There's a little bit, okay.
And look. And look.
Let's get the soup. Come, soup.
What flavor of soup was it? Maybe there's some more in the pantry.
This is chicken and leek.
Okay.
Is that nice? It's a strange way to drink soup, but anyway.
Maybe we should all be drinking soup like that.
Lying back, waiting for it to come in.
Why?
Is that nice? It's coming, it's coming. There is more if you want to get some more soup. I don't know about that particular kind.
I will get a bowl and bring more soup for you.
Thank you.
I will bring a big bowl for you. Then we'll get
Does Daddy want more soup?
I am fine. I don't need any more soup. But I will come in and we'll build that tower together, okay, Ned? You can take that and get a spoon and drink as much of that as you want. Okay. Can I have a quick cuddle before you?
Help me.
You might need to get in my lap again. Sorry, guys. I'll be back in a second. Right. Okay.
Some more soup.
Some soup. Okay. Here we go. Come. You really might need to get a spoon because it's so slow to come out. It's just a drip. I really am very sorry, people. I will get back to code in a second. Everything needs to be got from this soup. Okay. Right, Ned. Go and play with Amber for a bit, and I will come and I will build that tower with you, okay?
Okay, it's home.
At home.
Is it? We are to sit home.
We are at home.
The dive is gonna come out.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes, Ben, it was block content. It was always block content. It's why for what it's worth, I love, I much prefer
Daddy,
handling serialized
Don't break my
content.
aeroplane so it's good.
I won't break it. I will be very careful
It's
with it.
my aeroplane.
It's your aeroplane.
Why
If
does
anyone
it-
wants to see Ned's
No,
aeroplane,
don't hold it.
okay,
Because, don't
you won't be able to see
rain
Ned's
at it.
aeroplane. I was thinking I would show everybody your aeroplane. What do you think?
So
Can I show it to them? I'll just hold it up.
Oh no! He
the
will be
aeroplane.
inside it. I want to be inside it.
Okay, put him in.
No, don't put him on the ground. Put it on ground. No.
So the
Him very carefully, Daddy, and go slowly with him because he's gonna fall. No. So everyone.
I'm showing them. They can see the aeroplane.
No, but
Is Daddy keeping the aeroplane
no,
or are we taking it?
no. Show it to everybody.
He has, but they can't see here. They can only see at Daddy's desk.
I was only showing the people who are looking at the camera. Not everybody in the house.
What I said.
What did they say? Did any Lego? One of them is very excited about Lego.
Peter could have landed.
Okay, let's land it. And then I'm going to have to go back, Neddy, and you can go play.
We see you later, Dad.
Bye-bye. Okay. Hello, Florent. Okay, so... yeah. Right. Here we are. Security module. The security module... So basically, the security module integrates a particular set of recommendations, which are not, however... It's not like if you don't have the security module, your Nuxt site is not secure. Jacob, who develops the security module, is part of the Nuxt Insiders team, and we work closely together. So it's a supported module. In terms of Nuxt security, we work quite hard. We have an OSSF scorecard checklist. We're working quite hard to have a good score from a cybersecurity point of view. And we treat security issues quite seriously. But I appreciate that if there is a module called security, you would expect it to be part of the core. But it's not the case that module is what brings security to your Nuxt project. It's a great module. It's a particular set of recommendations rather than that without it, it's not secure, if that's clear. But feel free to open an issue or a suggestion. That would certainly be great. Okay. So what we need to do here is exclude types. And the issue seems to be, strangely, that why is this typed? Oh. This is actually fine, I think. The reason we are getting this error is because it requires the ID. So it's basically saying that we have to include the ID. That's great. And so if we are actually here, it is type pending the ID. So this is fine. Okay, so this is actually this is the way to do it. I think. So I just need to write these types, and then we'll get something that's automatically working. Do you get advantages by using auto imports? The main advantage is that it enables good DX whilst having a lot of auto imported utilities. So you don't have to use them by any means. The main benefit is that it means that if things that you don't need don't have to be added to your project. So it basically enables us to move from an architecture from a Nuxt and Nitro point of view, where we have to put everything on some kind of central, a central Nuxt app, and everything is available to you there, which is not compatible with tree shaking, to a composable architecture. But the big problem with composable architecture is the DX, and so auto imports aim to solve the DX issue. But so yeah, when you use them, they are automatically imported only when used. Okay, so this is what we want. We want this pattern, and so we can generate it here. So basically we have our internal API. We're going to generate another one as well. So we are going to have our interface internal fetch. Oh, I also need to confirm that this still works with other kind of fetch requests. So we basically want to have not just these, but it also needs to be the same as what is $fetch? It needs to support it needs to be Nitro fetch request. Ops needs to be Nitro fetch options, Nitro fetch request, and it needs to return unknown. And specifically, since this is the default one, which therefore can go at the bottom of the list. But specifically, Nitro fetch request and Nitro fetch options are do inference, and we can avoid that. So we can actually just say this. Okay, so this is basically pure, we're removing the current Nitro approach, and fetch options, or we can just say generic fetch options. Okay, so that should be fine. Let's see if that's going to work. Server helpers, it's very easy to add that. I mean, server utils is already supported, Ben, but if you do this, this is this is a Nitro config. So in a Nuxt project, you would just do Nitro and then imports, and then you can just add those as utils or helpers. So it should be very straightforward. If that doesn't work, you might have to do server helpers or something like that. But yes, it's as simple as that. Okay, so this is a problem now because that is typed, and this is well, no, actually this is fine, but it's coming back as unknown. Whereas we don't want it to come back as unknown purely. Yeah, I understand that. That is a pain. I would think it must be possible because we declare it. We give information to the IDE. So if there's anything that, and the WebStorm folk are generally great to work with. So if they have any IDE that we can hook into, then maybe that would be something that we could do. We could expose some types for them. So we want this to satisfies, what is it, foobar? And it doesn't. So if I said ID is true, then it does. Now that is the problem. I don't want this to work. This shouldn't work at all. Okay. Okay, so what we want to do here, let's see, what can I do? We want to specifically exclude. Can I specifically exclude okay, I think, let me try this. This might be a terrible idea. I want to exclude I want to exclude the /. Yes. Oh no, it didn't work. So that's just a normal fetch. And just to check, if I removed it from here, is that any better? No, it's not. So I basically want any string but that. So this is clearly not the right way of doing it. And I'm guessing that's not going to work either, because it's not specific enough. Is it like import maps? It's no, it's not. I don't know whether it effectively works that way, but it does. No, let me see exactly how import maps work in Deno. So yeah, no, it doesn't. Not as such, because you still have to import from Lodash, right? With import maps, whereas auto imports you don't have to. You can import. You can either not import them at all, or you can import them from hash imports, and it should just work. So what I want again is for this to be. Oh, sorry, my head was on that thing again. Just to check, I guess at the moment, this is what happened. I guess the fact that this returns unknown is maybe a significant thing. So you still get type safety. It's still going to cause an error, but your error is going to be A is unknown. And so you can't then access any property from it because it's not matching what we expect. So that might be okay. Like that might be fine. Let's go on the basis it's okay. Okay, so basically if we have these sort of two patterns, a root with a method typed query in body, that should be fine. Oh, but I do want this to require a body. If there is a like in this case it requires a query, right? So this we should have an error. So I think if there is a typed body, then it's required. So I would instead say, let's try this. I think we can extend it like this. So if it extends, then input or object. Let's try that. Does that work? It doesn't. Ah, it does. It is now giving us an error, but it's giving us an error down here. Cool. So effectively, like this is what's going on, right? So these are invalid. To do show type error rather than just returning unknown. Okay, so that's excellent. We can just directly return that. So at this point we can also it's just the method that we're handling. Oh, Todd, thank you for stopping by. It was nice to see you. Query is not specific to Nux. No, query in this case is just it just generates like a question mark. It's like just a search param, URL search param. So it would be, so query ID is true, would just be ID true like that. And it would add it to the end of the URL. So this URL would end up being /ID equals true. That's the URL that's being done. But this is just a convenient shorthand for making that. Because that's often a thing that people will change while keeping the rest of the function the same. I'm having a great day, thank you. Because this actually seems to be working, which is not what I was expecting. So I was expecting this to be a little bit harder. Not that I'm saying it's not tricky. Okay, so we're going to generate this. And what we want is to generate some basic default, which is this. So this is our default option for the internal fetch. Although actually, I think we could probably declare that directly in, well, we'll do it here. We can actually do this somewhere else. So where we declare our internal API, we can also export interface internal fetch, and the default is going to be this. So that's fine. We can hide it from there, I think. And then we're just augmenting it with these others. Yeah, exactly. It derives from the fetch spec, but with these extra things. Okay, so we want basically this. And so we're going to have to be able to generate that when we iterate over these roots. So we're iterating up here over our root types like this. This is where we generate the things. So we're going to have, I think, we can do this. Let's see, root types is being defined up here. And we're going to say instead const fetch signatures is going to be, we can do a set. We can just do that. And basically, let's just add it here. So we can say, okay, so fetch signatures.add this. Right, okay, so this is a signature, and I guess I can make it multi-line, right? That's not a problem, just for the sake of, okay, so our method is going to basically be middleware method, or basically all methods, right? I guess so we could say, we actually have like router method, I think. it is router method is basically lowercase HTTP method. And so I would say the method can be HTTP method or lowercase HTTP exclude HTTP method patch, which is not a valid method. Isn't that weird? Okay, so basically if we do that, we're going to have to import HTTP method. That's fine. We can do that up here. Is that right? Where's it coming from? Yeah. No. It's coming from... Yeah, that is where it's coming from. Okay, so we're importing that. We also need to import event handler, serialize, awaited, serialize and simplify. Event handler. And okay, that's fine. We have got event handler is also an H3 one, so we pull it in from there. Okay, so we basically have our type imports, and we're then safe to do the method like that. I think we could even simplify this a little bit further. We could basically say type default method is that, and we'll use default method instead. And then we need to add the type import, which again this is about simplifying things. So we can add our type imports. So event handler imports, and basically what we'll do is we have a let I equals 1, and we can just iterate up, right? I guess that's a way. We might rethink that down the line. So we'll basically say event handler imports, or sort of const event handler type is event handler I, and then event handler imports equals type event handler type equals, what have I copied? Is going to be type of the same type of thing that we already have here, which is that. Okay, so we're building these up, and then we can basically use the same event handler type here. Beautiful. So I think this is, oh, we also need the sort of the root. And there is one more thing that we're going to have to do here. You'll see in a sec, because we have to handle dynamic params. Hello, nice to see you. Okay, so having done this, we now have to handle these imports and fetch signatures, and basically say, put the imports up here, event handler imports, and then we will do the fetch signatures as well. Okay, now that probably isn't going to be precisely right. Just copying this before I lose it, and let's regenerate the project and see what Nitro will do. Okay, we have a default method and nothing in internal fetch. Why is that? maybe there's some kind of bug in my code. Hey, Daniel, nice to see you, and have a great weekend. I am going to take 3 minutes to grab some cup of tea. So I'm gonna just pause things, but don't go anywhere, or do go somewhere if you want to. But I'll be back, and I'll hopefully finish this up with a cup of tea. See you soon. Okay, I am back. cup of tea created. And okay, what are we doing? Well, this suggests that we don't have any middleware. What am I generating this in? The playground. The playground should have this. So what is going on? Let me just log it. It's not scanning anything. Is this really the right place? If I changed, like this is totally the this is annoying. Like this is nothing to do with my PR, I don't think. Well, let me just. It shouldn't be, right? Because I've only added a few little bits. This is just text. This is. I think if I comment it aloud. But the point is, it's not scanning it. So why? Am I in? Okay, that scanned some stuff. So why has this not scanned anything? And just to be clear, I've changed the types and very little here. If I comment it all out, okay. So it's not the code here, which I wouldn't expect. Is it possible it's what I've written in here? So if I just return that and I comment everything out here, which I shouldn't need anyway. And this is what is going on. How is this? Okay, why isn't it scanning them? So we should have scan handlers. Those scanned handlers should be created by scanning this roots folder. Which exists. Oh, that's weird. That's very weird. Okay, so it's scanning test fixture. And oh, well, that's not actually scanning it. It's just okay. Like this is. I'll just manually specify it. Well, I mean, let's just check it should actually work, right? If I run Nitro Dev, then I should be able to hit that and get a response. Typed root. Playground, that is. Oh, it's scanning them fine in dev mode. Okay, so this is a bug in Nitro, I suspect, when running prepare, that we don't scan for the handlers. So that is something we'll need to solve, but at least we're unblocked in terms of actually debugging this issue. Okay, so we have got some problems with the generated code because there's an extra quote, I think. So in our code, we're building some stuff. We are Yeah, there's an extra quote there for sure. Okay, let's try that again. Okay, we need fetch options imported from where? Oh, fetch. Okay, done. So now we should have some stuff coming. Let's see if it works. So we want to, oh, we're not doing anything with it, mind you. But if we did this again, so just declaring those pieces, then we should expect to have some stuff. So const d is await fetch. Great, we have type support for our different options. Typed root, we should have unknown, which is because we haven't passed a method. The method has to be we specified it's just a default method, which I guess is true. Oh, no, it's not that it lacks a method, it lacks body. So with body, no, it lacks query. So query needs to be, what is it? ID is string, which is still not right. Oh, if we have a, in this case, I'm forcing us to pass the method, which isn't right. We shouldn't require the method be passed if it's a default method. So basically, if there's a middleware method, yeah, we have a little bit of complexity here. So we basically have, if it's a get, it can be optional. Const optional is middleware method equals get. Or I don't know if we normalize these. Or if there is not a middleware method. Okay. And then if it's optional, we'll add a question mark. And otherwise nothing. And then we'll pass the method or the default method. So that should be better. So now our method is optional because it's just the default method. Let's see. We also want to specify that I think we really do need to figure out how to handle things that are omitted. So like it shouldn't just return unknown. It should actually give me a type error. So okay, so this is right. I think actually we can uncomment all of these because, but instead of a single, because this was all based around the typed root. And we also need to create one that is a get. And so this should be, should just return get. And it doesn't need to be async. Okay. It doesn't need to have event. Oh, it just returns get. We still need to figure out that issue. Okay, so this should now generate an extra. Oh. We need to quote the method. Oh. Yeah, of course, we also need to handle this too. So we want to say, let's pull this whole thing out. So const method is middleware method, and yeah, you can know what we're doing. we're basically wanting to add type support for when you're calling a fetch for a route where we know something about it. So in this case, we have a typed route. We know that it takes a query string with an ID. And so what we want to do is when we fetch that route to be forced to pass the ID and to get the response. And if we don't pass it, we get a fetch error. That's what we want. So typed fetch param, so fully type safe. So we basically want at this point to pull out the method. So basically, if the middleware method is patch, then it's going to be patch. Otherwise, it's going to be middleware method to uppercase and middleware method to lowercase and joined with a pipe. So we will basically say, and mapped to be stringified, so we don't have to do this. There we go. Oh, where's this coming from? Oh, I see, it's coming down there. So let's see, type method. We can refactor this, obviously. So it's either, so basically, or default method. There we go. So that means we simply have to put the type method in, and that should give us a bit better typing. Okay, good. We've got get or get. And call it method type. Method optional. Okay. Good. So what's going on? What's wrong? There's stuff still wrong. Oh, I just need to create another. I should have the typed route get, and then I have the typed route with every other method. And so at the moment, we can exclude, I think, every other method from our generated types. So for exact matches. So in this case, what we would want to do is, we would exclude default method and other methods. So let's see. Const excluded methods. Try this. Is we're gonna iterate through the middleware. Is middleware.filter middleware root equals middleware root. Oh, sorry, let's rename that. Other root is this root. And other doesn't equal. Guess we can compare objects like that. And basically, we're going to then map them to their roots, and I guess we want to also make sure they have a root. Okay, and so basically what we would want to do is included methods length, then we would exclude default method methods join or just default method. And so they would be, we would, actually we could just do it like this. We could do root, and we could specifically, oh no, we're not interested in the root, we're interested in the method. And we would basically want to do exactly the same thing. Hello, Sean. Another nice local voice. So I think what we can do is the same thing that we have here. And just map that there. And so we can actually just say excluded methods. Okay, what is that going to do for us? We're going to fail. What is not 111? We should have a method. Oh, that is the test we should have been doing. See, you're not selling me on the whole build it yourself thing. Yeah. Okay, so basically we should exclude okay, that's strange. So that's fine. So what? Oh, I think probably I just have a wrong test. Yeah, there. No? Oh, I see. Flat map. And we join. Oh, in fact, I guess we could do flat map. I'm trying to think what's better. And we'll just join everything at the bottom. Beautiful. Okay, so I think now we should be able to say, oh, it's fallen down into, it's this, okay, this is the thing, because we require a query string, even for this one. So let me just change it so that the get type root doesn't require a query string. So there we go. So now we should be able to say, that's interesting. Okay, so we should have here our get, and then not get. Oh, and specifically this one has to require a method, I think. Ah, it's also that we are specifically enforcing the options object. So, by the way, I think this is going to create a much stronger, better type system, because we're doing less inference and we're doing more explicitness. Okay, so in this case, let's see. Const is options optional, and oh, that's interesting. We don't necessarily know this is the case. We know it's optional in the case of a get query, but the other factor is whether or not it is typed. As in whether the actual root has input types. And we can't know that from code. So we might need to make that part of our test. So effectively what we want to be able to do this is So one option is that we just don't know. I so wish I could expand that. So basically what we know here is oh. It's complaining. What is it saying? I'm sorry, Tom. Would it help if I talked a little bit about the edge? Okay, promise string has no call signatures. Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay. So that is typed correctly. And this is probably the problem here too. No, it's not. Maybe it is. Oh, it's typed as a string rather than as get particularly. So, right, okay, so that's not a problem. It's all working fine. It's just that I forgot to make it more specific. So we could do that. We could sort of say type root get as return get as const, and then it will be fine. Okay, so it is actually working fine. So our generated types are good. But I have two problems. And my problems are, well, before I get further into it, I think we can also handle dynamic params. But let me just write them down. Okay, so my problems are to do. 1, dynamic params. 2, I need to make sure we can infer returns when we provide typed input. And to do 3, I need to ideally require options object when we provide typed input. Oops, sorry. Does that make a loud noise when I bump it? Okay, so dynamic parameters I think is the easiest, which is why I'm thinking we can start there. And so at the moment we just specifically put the middleware root in. But say we have a root like this. We have a root which is test slug. And we have our API root and it returns test slug. Okay, so at this point, we'll generate this pattern of URL, but I think we can actually do better. So we can specifically, like at the moment we have type inference to make that work, but I think we can actually just generate a type for it. So we can say const root type is middleware root includes, if it has a parameter, then we'll do something special. Otherwise, we will return that. Okay, so we can just say root type. If it has a dynamic parameter, then we will basically need to swap it out. So we can return the root, replaced with every colon, and then a something that isn't dividing the root. I'm going to have to improve this in a second because we need to match multi-level, but I'm doing it piece by piece. We're going to replace every chunk like that with that code, and then we are going to wrap the whole thing in type literals. So I think if I do this, it should generate, ta-da, a template type for me, which is perfect because now I can do something like this. I want to fetch test thing, and it's not working. Oh, it's the colon. And it's working. Okay, so that's great. Oh, it's not giving me type. It's not giving me completion, but it is working as a type param. Now it's also possible to have like multi-level roots, like multi dot slug, and these are also detectable. Like they'll have the star star. So we basically want to replace that first. Or do we? I think maybe we want to sort it. So we want to sort these signatures, and so probably we want to put all the globs at the bottom, all the dynamic parameters at the bottom, so we match exact ones first. So what we would do is say we don't want a set, instead we want an array of strings, and we'll just push. We'll push it if it is dynamic, and okay, let's try that. So that should stick them all at the bottom if they are dynamic. And oops, what is that done? Oh, I see, it's auto-completed it. Now, what we are losing here is like the ability to do fine matching. We actually had a sorting algorithm implemented in TypeScript, but I think so. We might be able to do that, but that would have to operate on an array of strings. So I think probably we'll find a type test failing when we actually implement this. Okay, so so far this is actually working. Um, okay. I think now what I want to do before I tackle the next couple of things is actually test this in. So you can add scripts using useHead, but the reason there's no script tag is that it is very, very unsafe to dynamically render scripts in your head based on view template, and it's basically, there's a good reason not to do that. Because you could end up having the script rerun every time it updates, for example. So do it in useHead, but you can add scripts, but do it in the script setup rather than in your template. Okay, so what we want to do is now swap the implementation over from internal API to internal fetch. And actually, really what we want to do is for our globs to be at the very bottom, and our single patterns to be higher up. Maybe we should do that. So say fetch signatures is actually going to be exact globs. Oh. And what we'll do is we'll push to and we might as well do dynamic, just to make it super simple. So we then can just do this. And we can basically either say, so if it's dynamic, we'll just say const group is, if it has this, then it's going to be globs. If it includes that, then it's going to be dynamic, and otherwise it's going to be exact. So we'll stick it there. Great. Let's try that one more time. The best way to understand the Nitro codebase or the Nuxt codebase the best way, I mean, I did a little intro to it, which I think is on a stream, which you could check out. But a helpful way to dive in is to start with something that you're doing. So if you run nuxi dev, what happens? So open the nuxi package and look at how does the dev command work. Then what does the dev command do? And you can have a look. It's like 10 lines. So, okay, it does these things. So then, and you can basically trace it through into Nuxt. And that is one way of like figuring out what a code base does. It's not specific to Nuxt, but in general, I would recommend that kind of thing for exploring and coming to understand like a different code base. I'm totally happy to help if that would be, but I mean, check out my stream. Go for it. CSS, fire away. I'm going to just simplify this again. So I think we can say type base options equals that. And then we can use this, because I think this will also speed up TypeScript's inference. I'm just sort of assuming these things, but someone else might know better. Okay. Is there any easy way to position your elements in the page? I mean, I would recommend learning Flexbox. Honestly, I think that would be a useful skill to have, and I think you would benefit from it a lot. There are other ways to position things, absolutely, but you don't typically want to go for them on a daily basis. There is something called position absolute or position fixed that let you stick things to different parts of the viewport, but in general you want to avoid that because you want your layouts to be responsive and to respond to the browser and to flow, and so things like Flexbox help with that. I'm using a MacBook Air. Had a terrible thought. No, not forgotten anything. Okay, so right, so this is working. That's the surprising thing. Like, it's coming in, we're getting a response. But I don't think it's going to work once we start swapping it across. Okay, so we will, let's say feet typed inputs, and we're just going to quickly commit what we've got. So I'm going to say first we can generate internal fetch signature. So I would say that things like CodePen are very useful for checking this kind of thing out. So if you go into, I think I must have an account. If you go into CodePen and you can create a little project. And you have some HTML, CSS, and JS. This is like, there are other ways. I think you could do this in Stackblitz too, but you know, hey. And so you have a bit of HTML. Let's grab some basic HTML. And we will just say, you know, div hi. And so we then have some div on the page. What's it complaining about? Oh, nice. Cool. We don't need all of that. Great. So we have a div. And like, I guess the question I have in mind is what do you mean by placing it? Often it might be helpful to draw on a piece of paper the kind of layout you want for your page. And if you are new to CSS, you'll build up the skill of being able to position things where you want them. But it's not about positioning individual things. It's about creating a layout. So like there'll be something on one side and something on the other side. And so it's not about positioning one thing over there. It's about like dividing that layout into boxes and figuring out how the boxes relate to other boxes. If you just, if you want to put this in the middle of the page, yeah, that's great. Thank you, Joaquin. Okay, so at the moment we have this elaborate stuff, and so we can, let's try swapping this out here. So rather than swap out some of these other interfaces, we are just going to say that fetch is going to be fetch just is going to extend internal fetch. And I think we want to do the same with raw. Well, let's just take this for the moment. I think we can get rid of a lot of these types if they work. And those things are not, all those dependencies are not required in production. So they're only development dependencies, as in they're only used when you're developing your app. Okay, this is actually working. Oh, it's working because we're also declaring all the other types. Let's not do that. Beautiful. It's actually still working. Great. That's a simple implementation. I'm not sure I did much to help. It would be a fun thing to do, to dive into a stream to actually just sort of do some CSS. Okay, so if we actually just said we just did, is it possible as simply as, okay, so if we removed the, yeah, we don't need this anymore because this is just, we can just say this is an internal fetch. And raw and create are also internal fetches. Okay, so we could basically just say this. This isn't exactly right, because what we want is for people to be able to create typed fetch requests. But basically that is working there. But surely this is not going to work when we build it, like when we run our type tests, right? So at the moment, fetch is typed. We are no longer using all of this complex inference. We're generating everything. And I just cannot believe that's going to work when we actually test it. Why is ESLint running when I'm running my test suite? We should ignore that. I'm sure there's stuff to change. I really dislike these. What I'm looking for is, yeah, that. Yes, failure, failure. And let's try this as well. Okay. We have a pretty elaborate type test. Oh, look at all of that. Okay, so what we're going to have to do here, what is the actual type? This, oh, what a shame. Okay, we're running TSC no emit and inside the fixture. So if we go into the fixture and run that in watch mode, we will get like a running total. Okay, so we have our errors, 30 of them, in fact. And if we open our types, we can also see that this file is full of red. Okay, well that first one is easy to fix. Basically, we are returning unknown when we should be returning promise unknown, I think. So that is in our internal types, I think. And we should specifically be saying internal fetch should return promise unknown. Okay. And that should remove 2 of the errors. Good. So why is this still not working? Yes. In fact, in 3.7, you'll be able to use Lightning CSS with Nuxt. It's experimental, and the main thing that you have to know is that PostCSS isn't going to work. So anything that uses PostCSS like Tailwind is not going to work with Lightning CSS right now. But yeah, you can enable Lightning CSS and check it out. I think it's very promising. We need to support a type. Like a return type. Shouldn't be complaining about that, I think. So now that is supported. It's clearly supported. Oh, is the issue that all of the ones have to support it? All the ones we're generating have to support it. I guess so. So we should be able to say let's try that one. And what's the command? We want to run that. No, you're not late, Akra. No, it's nice to see you. And yes, Andre is absolutely right. That is why you would use PNPM. It is very fast. It's very good with the disk. Okay, so we've solved the first ones up there. Now we're moving on. And the issue here, I think, is this is where our matching algorithm comes in. So this is this is what's going on. Okay, so we need to sort our generated types, and I think that's going to get rid of a lot of the red, but not all of it. Interesting. Okay. So we'll try and get rid of a lot of this red. And so basically what we need to be able to do, I think, to get rid of the red is have more than 3 buckets or do something else. So at the moment we've got our, exact dynamic and globs, but I think we need to actually have a single array. I know, I'm here. We want a single, I think an array. So we'll basically have an array of root and then type. And we'll sort that in a second. I'll just make that a little bit clearer. Okay, so what we want to do is ignore this group thing, and we're going to do all of the sorting later on. And basically say we're going to push the type and the root. So we can handle the sorting after we've gone through all of the and generated all of the types that we want. I think that's a reasonable thing to do. Okay, so what we want in that case is to sort the fetch signatures before we put them in. So we will stick them in here, but we will sort them. And we want basically to put longer, so more specific ones first. And we want to put so we're going to sort them, and then we're going to return the root. The root, the type. We're going to return the type. Okay, so what we want to do is say So let's look at the types that have been generated here. Nice work, Andre. We do also have to do some like performance testing here to see, is this any better? Is this worse? Because it could be worse also. We want to see whether there's anything we can do to sort these. Yeah. Yeah. So we want to return, so score is string, is root includes, so if it's glob, then it's going to get -10, I guess. And if it includes that, then the score is -5. And otherwise, it's going to be root length. Or just -10. Return score A minus score B. Oh. It's not changed a thing. Oh, but what is the order it's come out with? Probably done it the opposite way. It's a very good PR, Andre. We also care about the length, though, even within the thing. So I think actually we have to do it different. So if A includes and B includes return -10. Otherwise, return A.length minus B.length. What is the actual? Oh, this is it's doing that right, but it's doing this wrong. So you can say 100, 50, 10,000 maybe. Oh no, it's doing it the opposite way. So I guess minus numbers go. So confused. What have I, like, someone help me do actual sorting algorithm. Okay, so basically, what do I want, and what is it doing? So I want to put the let's just revise this. Okay, so if it is what's the best way to handle this? So right, I'm just going to quickly check how the sort works. We want a negative value if the first argument is less. And so a minus value puts it first. So we don't want to do that. That would put it to the end. And so we want to put longer ones first. So we do want to subtract it like that. So we could try this. But it's not quite right because we want those to be very, very high. We also want all of the, I think that's because of the, we also want to do it the other way. So is that going to do anything for us? So shortest at the top. I don't want shortest at the top. I want longest at the top. Because it's different. I care about the longest. So we want ascending, and I'm so sorry, people. Okay, we want ascending, and actually we don't care about the length. We want the length without the globs. So I would say something like. Has this moved everything at the end? Yeah, it has, rightly. Okay, I want to dive into a specific one. So we have API typed user, and we have, API typed user, we have our generated file. Okay, so if we have our generated file, API typed user, exactly. So, and I guess if I move this up, the type error goes away, right? Yeah. And I wonder if I can fully do that. So basically, I should be able to have these more specific ones. every one of these is solving a bug as it moves up. So this seems to be very, very straightforward to solve. I just need to actually write the code to do it. So what we want is to sort it by, actually I think we don't, like my approach was wrong here. I think we want to sort it by actual strings, like by the actual path first. So and then by length. No, we want to sort it by reverse order, maybe. Can we just reverse it? So a.locale compare b. Hey Julian, nice to see you. Thank you for popping by. As you can see me reload roots. Okay, so what's the order that we've generated here? Okay, we need to drop the That's strange. Why is that not? I feel like we're gradually getting there. The double stars. Hey, hello, Nikhil. Welcome. This is all about typed input params. So typed body and typed query coming into a fetch request. Hey, Cardistry. Nice to see you. So I'm actually struggling right now with sort, with array sort is what I am struggling with. And that is embarrassing, but it is the case. So what's the star thing going? I think there's a problem with my regex actually. So this is VS Code. Oh, I've just opened several panes because I'm trying to compare, like change some code, and then I want to see what it outputs on the other side. This is what I've done. We have API test. So why is, I mean, it's very weird. Okay, my replacement here is clearly wrong. So that's Ah, it's a 3 dots. So is that just a single? It might just be that. So we'd say not. No, that's not it. Oh, I want to see what these actual roots look like. It's just star star. And let me just quickly debug this regex. So test. Yeah, that works. Let's just do replace then. So replace that with that, or specifically that, because that's fine. And then we want something that looks like that. Ah, I see. It should, there we go. And we want, we also want it to be, okay, that seems fine. But I don't understand, yeah, okay. But I don't understand why to-dos is not being replaced properly. So this should be fully replaced, right? Oops. What am I trying to do? Look, it does it. I'm trying to, so I see that something generated here is this URL. That's not a valid URL. Like this is meant to be this. Whoa, wait a second. Ah, it's because we're checking for the presence of this. Okay, that's what it is. So there's nothing about it with the regular expression. It's this thing. Okay, so if it, there we go. Thanks for the prompt. Always helpful to like ask the question, what is actually meant to be going on here? So I think now that should generate our thing correctly. No? Why is that not working? Come on. It is testing it. Oh, maybe I just hadn't refreshed it. Okay. So what we have, this needs to go first, right? So we need to sort them. And I thought I was doing that with my locale compare, but I think not. So what I want then is to figure out how to sort these properly. That is literally what I want to do. So I have something like this being sorted properly above that, but then I have something like this not being sorted properly, one above the other. So somehow I need to figure out, it's probably the locale compare thing. So I want to, and length, I guess. Or a dot length minus b dot length. So in other words, if they are perfectly the same. Now that's, I guess locale compare is always going to put I don't think that's going to work, right? Because it's I'm specifically interested in things that are I think I'm gonna have to write my own. And okay, so basically what the situation I want is alphabetical order, but longer first, right? Could I just do it in non-alphabetical order? Is that like just, I mean, so I don't care if we have our Z roots at the top. All I care about is whether the longer ones are before the shorter ones. Okay, so we have and then actually I don't care about length. I care a lot about how many dynamic parameters there are. So I want non-dynamic parameters to be before dynamic parameters. So I shouldn't be replacing it with Z's, I should be replacing it with A's or that's. What do you mean, oh dear? I think that's probably a very fair comment. This is looking a little bit better. It's looking much better. Okay. How are we doing on our types then? Not great. It's not a great regex probably. I'll extract it all out. So basically what this is meant to do is just remove the dynamic parameters. So I'll pull it out like this. Const dynamic param. And we will just use it like this. Okay, now we still have 17 errors in our sorted route. So what we're trying to do is get to the point where we can fully replace the current sorting algorithm, which is purely type-based, with one which is informed by code at the point of creation, because this will be more performant. I feel intrinsically, I haven't tested this, but I feel it should be more performant. On the other hand, I am producing a lot of overloads, so it might not actually be more performant. I'll have to actually do some testing. Okay, so again, I have to have another issue with my regex. Oh no, that's not right. think they're somehow equally specific. So there's some reason that it's picking the one with coffee over the one without coffee. So when I am posting this, it's because, oh, for goodness sake, it's not merging them. It's not merging the overloads. Alex, hello, welcome. You're in time to see me have 17 type errors. That's what you're on time for. This is tricky. So we can also basically revert back to the sort of old ordering. The other thing is what we could potentially do is offer the user a choice, or we could, because in most cases these are not really. No, that's not right. We need to resolve an alias somewhere. We'll need to resolve. It's not to do with this, but we do need to do this relative path here. Should be resolve alias, middleware handler, nitro alias, nitro options alias. That should hopefully pop in a second. Wish there were a way to just sort of refresh, because this is not, I think, up to date. Oh, it is. Just going to quickly debug this. So we're generating our fixture, so I want to see all the paths. We have all our paths. This one is relative, and we should resolve the alias. And if we are resolving the alias, that should resolve it. But not. Oh, it's probably not an issue with us here. It's probably an issue with the fixture. Because we have the fixture, we are probably adding this here, but we don't have any alias for it, I guess. We have a default alias that includes, we don't. So I think what we would actually want is for this to be aliased here, like this. Okay. Errors are temporary. Eternal. Well, that's maybe more than I was prepared to say, but that is okay, let's see. So I think that is actually just worth remembering as a separate fix. And it's not a bug in Nitro. It's a a bug in the test fixture. But let me just confirm that. So if I just change that to rerun it, and then swap it again. Oh no, it is actually a bug. Okay, so we need to resolve the alias here. Okay. So rats. So the implementation, the thing that we need to do now is, well, it's this matching algorithm, and I was sort of hoping it would be better. So we want to merge rather than just have separate overloads. So merge return types. And that may be a problem with the approach I've taken rather than something that's soluble that way. You hate time zones. It's a good thing you don't work for, a company that does anything with time zones or, has to deal with dates on a regular basis. I'm just saying, that would be a really bad situation if you had to face sort of, I don't know, any kind of scheduling infrastructure. That would be a problem. Are you looking forward to temporal? Like, are you using it? Are you actually using temporal? Yes. Okay. We have to ignore query suffixes. Thank you for that reminder. What else do we have to do? What's this meant to be? This is the serialized. Well, that might actually be more accurate type. Okay. Okay. What's going on here? So we have API methods. We have one with get, which is correctly typed. We have one with, why is this typed as any? That's right. Okay, that is a problem. So what we're doing is and that's actually maybe a bug in the event handler. This should not be typed as any at all. Why is this typed as any? Response should be unknown, not any. Why are these any? I was sure that my code. Okay, I think this has been a change subsequent to what I wrote. So this should be that, I think. Yeah. Okay, so I have to fix this in H3. What? What? Why? Why is that the case? Okay, so I have to fix this in H3. Sorry, people. This waits for nobody. is that? Why is that any? And okay, I think that's the right fix. I think that's what I did. So replaced that any with unknown and those any's with event handler request. Fix any types. And that should mean, I think, that we are able to also do typed roots like this, where I should be able to just say query is ID string and still have a typed response. No, it's typed it as unknown. It shouldn't have a default value. So it should be inferred, which means yeah, that should be fine. So this basically should be like that and that. I think that is my bad. Let's just try it again. So that is returning as any. Why is it returning as any? Oh, please tell me no. I'm not interested. Yeah, that's true. But I think in here, what am I have a test, and I have an inferred You're quite right. I didn't write a test for this. I didn't write a test for this. But still, I think these are right changes, because otherwise it wasn't even inferring it at all. So I think that's right. I do think that is right. Okay. So assuming that might solve it, let's just go back here and carry on. So how far are we? So I'm gonna have to go actually, I think, in a second. 15. Okay, people, we're getting better. Right, now I think these ones are all about merging. This one maybe not. So this is the query suffixes. So we basically need to handle that. So we could generate an extra line. So basically we have our URL is either going to be this URL. Where is it? The URL, or query URL. And so we could say something like root type. I think we can actually just do it here because we don't need to do it if there is a dynamic parameter, I think. I think we would only need to do it here. So we would basically do it like this. Okay, I think that's just solved these two. Meaning, yeah, so those should be resolved. Okay, so what do we have here? Post coffee. This post coffee is returning back the post ID. So why is this the case? We have coffee. This is actually right, though, because coffee shouldn't handle anything else. I think that is correct. Here, it's merged. So these are all union types, which we don't support, but that's all the same issue. So the issue is whether it merges the return type for these, whereas the type of this is actually right. I think this is better than we have at the moment. That's nice. What about this? Let me just check that. Like, I don't want to overpromise, but I think that is right. That is better. And this one comments that is also right. Like, this is the correct type. I'm very pleased. I'm not sure about that. This one probably should be both. Okay, here we have user dynamic string, so we don't know which one it is. API hey. And again, it should be like that. So that shouldn't match. Good. Okay. Here. Again, I think this is a limitation that we don't know exactly what the dynamic string is. And we don't support unions. So that's something we might just not support in this. But I think some of the other ones are actually fixes. So we're down to 9 errors. Cool. Okay, I feel this is definitely going in a good direction. It might be worth just quickly testing the performance. So if we were to run our no emit and we were to trace the come on, generate trace, thank you. Oh, I'm watching it. Sorry, that's... Oh, no, I'm not watching it. Was it just doing all the time generating? I might just instead... I've just realized I'm on a remote machine. I will find it difficult to download that. If I instead... what is it? Build... what is it? Diagnostics? Extended diagnostics. Extended diagnostics, 3 seconds. If I just whip that, go to main, and it's similar performance. Or check time 2 seconds, and then with the typed inputs, it's 1.87, so it is more performant, which is good. We still need to figure out the remaining 9 issues. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap up here. So I'm going to ignore the playground because I think we've now have that in our test fixture. And I am going to ignore the trace, which I should look at locally. And I think I'll need to do some work to just make sure these types all work properly. Okay. I think we can actually remove a lot of these things. So, but we might not remove them straight away. Because that would be a breaking change, I guess. Oh, that's the thing. We actually haven't even removed the existing types, so that will still be adding type complexity here. If we actually don't emit the internal API types, Let's see what that does. I don't know if it will do anything for them just simply to be there. Yeah, makes it faster still. Great. That's a sort of significant improvement in types. Thank you for the pointer to FZF. I'll take a look. And I need to do some more work on making this backwards compatible. Generate. Internal fetch. Signatures. And push. Okay, and then this one is actually a different problem. So here, test fixture, fix, add alias to fixture, push that to. Okay, good. I'll just open a PR for that, and I'll also open a PR for the other one. If you want to take a look at it, feel free, and if you can spot any issues or things like that, let me know, because this is definitely something that would be nice. But okay, I think that's it for now. Oh, that's an interesting thought. It might. That would be nice if so. Let me see. But it might also not. It might be. I think because it's an overload, it might just pick the first one rather than allow multiple ones. but let's just see, because it's just showing it as 1. But let's see, we could say yeah, it seems not. It seems not. I think it's because it's it's just a single result, which is also partly why it's faster, because it's not, it's just finding the first match in the list. But have a look. Yeah, well, thank you. The linting, I hate it. I hate it so much. Okay, we're just going to have to ignore these 2 particular ones. But anyway, I must go. I really must go. Thank you, everybody, for joining. It's been fun, and I think it's helped me. And if I haven't fully succeeded yet, that is only because it still needs a bit more percolating. But I really, really appreciate it. Thank you. Good stuff. Oh, I should see whether we should go anywhere. We can raid somebody if you're looking for something fun. The Primogen, he always seems to be on. Who else? I think there are definitely things that we might not want to do. What are people interested in? Any of these things? Do anybody have a recommendation for a streamer that I might not know about? No? Well, we won't raid anybody today. Anyway, thank you all, and see you on another time. Bye bye bye.